Okay, welcome to Before Floor, a faction of Five on the Floor on the Five Reasons Sports Network. I'm Greg Sylvander as we get you set for Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. Lots of stuff to unpack before this game. It's got so many elements to it. So joining me to kind of get through some of these topics is Brady Hawk. Directly to my, I guess that would be your right, I have Alfredo Ortega. Below us here, Arteaga, sorry. I'm doing my best. And David Ebersol as well. And Alejandro, of course, he's here, the backbone of this thing from a production perspective. So let's dive right into this a little bit. I think the news of the day for Game 3 really is more about the Celtics than it is Miami. And it's the news that Gordon Hayward will get limited minutes and will contribute in some capacity. We don't know what he's going to look like and what it'll essentially be for Boston. But Brady, I'll start with you. What do you think the kind of impact Gordon Hayward will have in this first game back, and what does it mean for the series?
I think he's going to – obviously they said he's going to come off the bench, so that's going to be one thing. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be getting a bit of a slow start, obviously losing that amount of time. It's not going to be him just jumping back into things and just being the guy that he's been in the past. So I think there's a lot of things that you got to look at on that part of things. But I think this is a must-win game, obviously, for Boston. That's pretty clear. But I think Miami has to pretty much be the team that's going to be assertive in the first half. Because if they let things go off the rope like they've been in Game 1 and 2, then this is going to be it's going to be tough for them to make that comeback that they've been.
You know, three words you just said, must-have win, I think is what you said for Boston. It's interesting because the way that this series has played out so far with the Heat having double-digit deficits in both games, even though they're 2-0, there's elements of this game where they haven't been in control for 48 minutes in either ball game. So I'm interested, as much as they're up 2-0, how much of a must-win is it? Is it a must-win one? And how do you view the series in terms of, and I guess, Alfredo, I'll go to you. Do you view this as a series that Miami has complete control over, or is the 2-0 lead a little deceptive because of how the games have played out?
No, 2-0 is 2-0, and I've heard a lot of people say that this Gordon Hayward thing might break up the rhythm a little bit. I don't know who he's going to be in place of, but he's going to be better than whoever they had before, right? So you almost want to get some normalcy back into these playoffs, because I do not believe the Heat has been tested yet, which is weird, right?
What?
But I think that, but I think the Heat are about to join the rest of the NBA in the playoffs today, because this is Boston's best chance to get one. And at least one early in the series, because if they lose this one, I really do believe it's a sweep.
Yeah, I think that it's one of those situations where if a team gets down 3-0, we've seen it with Miami, that the other team starts to hesitate and maybe feel like it's time to pack it up. And Boston being a young team, I think you may be onto something there. So it is a must-win for Boston. David, I'll go to you on this one. Kendrick Nunn has been pretty bad. Just let's not sugarcoat it. And Derek Jones Jr. was much more disruptive and kind of impacted the game in ways that didn't show up in the box score. Do you predict that Spo will go completely away from Kendrick Nunn tonight and really hone in on DJJ getting all those minutes? Or do you see Kendrick Nunn getting another chance this evening?
I think kind of how the game dictates that early is if Miami's ahead for once early in the game, he might get some run just to sort of spark that second unit on offense and keep that momentum going. But he's not really been trusted late in games, so he's kind of just been a forgotten man because of Jones' defensive impact late in the games. He's the guy Spo's going to go to when he needs to switch out situationally. So I'm looking for it if Miami gets some momentum early and they're feeling good about themselves on offense, that the offense is running smoothly, then, yeah, I think you could possibly see some early impact from Nunn.
Yeah, I think Kendrick Nunn is – I started in the Indiana series saying, okay, Spo has to try to find 20 minutes for him somewhere. And then against Milwaukee, I started saying, okay, they got to find 15 minutes for him somewhere. And in this series, I was saying, okay, they got to get 10 minutes for him somewhere. And I think I'm down to, okay, just play him 5 minutes as a heat check. Because you never know. He comes in for 5 minutes. He goes 4 for 4. He might be useful down the stretch to spell Goran. Maybe bring Goran back in with 4 minutes to go, have him at 100%. It's instead of, dying legs as they've had been the last few games, although, you couldn't tell by watching him. But if he's a useful player, it only makes the team a lot better.
I've been a huge proponent of playing Derek Jones Jr. over Nunn and giving those minutes, but that was probably his game was in game 2, because now he got those minutes mostly because Iguodala was on the bench for that amount of time. So now with Andre Iguodala returning, I don't think he'll be getting as much minutes as we saw him get in game 2, but I think that's one of those cards that Expulsion has in his back pocket when something's going wrong. If Kemba's playing good or one of those guys are playing good, they can throw him out there to guard him one-on-one, or obviously the zone defense, which is something we saw.
Yeah, I mean, you beat me to the next topic, the zone. I feel like that completely threw Boston for a loop in the last game. They didn't get to any of their normal action at all. And I'm interested to see what counters Boston has to that, and then the counter to the counter that we know Spoelstra's been working on. Do you expect, I guess, Alfredo, do you expect that that Miami will start out the game in zone, or do you think that that's something they're going to just kind of intermittently throw into the mix, or was it so successful that they just start right off the cuff in zone?
Nah, they'll spring it on them sometime late in the first half, and then probably go to it for stretches in the second half. And I've heard a lot of people say, okay, just flash Tatum to the free throw line and then break Miami's zone that way. Easier said than done when the Heat are putting such lengthy defenders at the top of their zone. So they're denying those passes. And the worst thing that can happen for an offense against the zone is to be passing the ball around the perimeter, just trying to get it to the free throw line, and you can't because the defense you're up against keeps taking away the passing lanes. So then all you end up doing is just burning shot clock, and your offense gets even more stagnant than it was before. So I don't know what the counter is. I think the counter can easily just be shoot better.
Right? That's true.
That fixes everything, right? But
we've
I don't
seen
know
it
what
fix
the
everything
counter
for
is.
the Heat.
Yeah, Brad Stevens knows a lot more about basketball than I do. I've gone over it. I don't know what he goes to. My first thought is, send Tatum to the free throw line, trying to get it to him there, have him break people down off the dribble. But, what happens if you can't get him the ball there because all our defenders are long in front of him, denying the passing lane? So I have no idea how they're going to counter. It'll be interesting to watch. Maybe just shoot better.
Right. David, Brady, adjustments from your perspective. Is there anything that jumps off the page to either of you that you think is a worthy call out in terms of adjustments on either side?
I don't know. I'm not sure about the exact adjustment, but something I talked about my Spoelstra piece. I think there's going to be something that a lot of people aren't thinking about that Spoelstra's going to use in this game, because he's always the guy that waits kind of to use something, which is what he used in that game too with that zone. He waited to that third quarter to kind of get that lead back, which ultimately won in that game. But I don't think that's the only thing he has in his back pocket in this series. There's something else that I think that he's going to use today to kind of close out this series. But I don't know if that's going to be offensively or defensively, but I'm kind of curious to see what that's going to be.
David, anything to add?
Yeah, I think it's how Stevens also adjusted the pick and roll with Bam. They were clearing out the near side of the floor and really giving him a lot of space to work. How they're going to adjust to that on defense is going to be key for Boston, because Miami was just eating them up with that in the third quarter especially, which really changed that game. And also on defense, how they're going to pick them up. Are they going to go with more three-quarter court pressure to kind of wear down, like Alfredo said, that shot clock early? Boston wasn't even getting into their half-court sets until there was 14 seconds left on the clock. So are they going to continue to kind of get that pressure at the early part of the offense instead of just kind of letting them get going? And the transition defense, I think Boston, they're not a big run team, but if they get out and run with Kemba, with the pull-ups and everything like that, that could create some problems. So I think if Miami can really sort of just give them some different things to think about, I think we'll be in good shape with the adjustments, because so far Spo's had an answer for everything. So I think the much anticipated chess match has been a little bit one-sided. So, the adjustments are really on Stevens' end, especially with how they're going to react on defense, because they're really creating a lot of problems with the pick and roll with Bam. So we'll see what they do.
Yeah, and vindication, right? I kept saying for the at least for the 2 pregame shows before this one, run the pick and roll and run at Daniel Tice, get him in foul trouble. Now, the pick and roll really did work in this last game, but it didn't work like I thought it would work. Like I wanted to run pick and roll at Daniel Tice because I know he's handsy and he's grabby. So I wanted to get him into foul trouble, because if he gets into foul trouble, that therefore hurts their offense. But that's not what happened. Daniel Tice actually had different ideas on how to defend the pick and roll. Maybe that's an adjustment, but I'd try it again. I'd bring the pick and roll with Goran and Bam, run it right at Daniel Tice, trying to get him into foul trouble. He gets into foul trouble. He can't play big minutes in this game. They're in trouble. And the Heat can go 3-0 in this series just on that alone.
They're going to attack Hayward on defense, too.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Kemba and Hayward, you would think that they would hunt those guys as much as possible. Something that came in the comments about Jimmy being more aggressive, and also that they can't start out the game slow. And I'm interested to get your guys' perspective about Jimmy's approach to this game specifically, because we've seen him really key in on getting everyone else involved, and that works. So, I mean, nobody's saying Jimmy should necessarily change how he approaches. But do you think that there's an opportunity in this game for him to get a stranglehold of the offense earlier? I'm throwing that out to the floor. Who's got something on that?
Yeah, that's something I kind of tweeted earlier. I think this is going to be a big Jimmy game. I think he scores 25-plus points today, because I think the only way – Boston's going to throw some things out to try to get this game, because obviously, like we said, this is a must-win. But Jimmy's going to have to be assertive early, because, like I mentioned earlier as well, they're not going to be able to take the lead down like that and win this game. That's just not going to happen. So Jimmy's going to have to attack the rim and get to the free throw line and get the other guys in foul trouble in order to win this game, which I think he is. I think he's kind of not even looked to the rim to try to score in these first half in these past 2 games. But I think that's ultimately today he's going to, because that's going to be much needed.
We have a special guest.
I guess
Greg.
it depends on
Mm-hmm. Yes, sorry, Alfredo. Sorry for interrupting you, but we have somebody that would like to join the broadcast right now, and here he is.
The only reason I'm joining is because the only reason I'm joining, I'm sort of in the dark here, is because I saw that comments coming in that saying it's a nice change to have Greg quarterbacking this instead of Alf, and then they misspelled the other Alf's name. So I'm going to leave it to Greg. I'm just coming in here to say that I did pick the Heat to lose Game 2, and tonight I'm doing it again. So I know that will please most people because I'm typically wrong, but this is
might have company though.
Yeah, this is not going to be a sweep. This is not going to be a sweep. And if they go down 3-0, you can hardly see me, so I can't even take credit for this. I don't think it's going to be a sweep. And
Beautiful architecture behind you, though. I got to say that.
Well, it's actually the beach behind me. So it's no, actually that's my hand. Sorry, that's.
Let me see.
Oh, there's the view. Show off.
There you go. So I'll show you. Yeah, exactly. I'll be back at some point. I'm probably inebriated on post-game show. But I don't think it's Hayward that's going to be the difference. I think the difference in this game is I think Kemba is finally going to find rhythm throughout an entire game. And there's bound to be one of those. And look, it's natural to relax a little bit. You're up 2-0 in this series. I do think they'll get a little bit of an electrical charge from Hayward, but I don't think it'll be as much about the playing. I think it's just giving the Celtics hope that if we can extend this thing, we can get this thing right. Plus, they're coming off that whole locker room thing. I feel like it's set up tonight for the Heat to lose one. I'm still picking them in the series, though. So there you go. Anyway, enjoy the show.
You picked the Heat to lose, so you're out of here.
I'm out of here. I wanted Greg to be able to do that. All right.
Sorry, bye, Ethan.
On we go. And we'll get to everybody's picks later, so don't worry. If anyone else wants to have no guts, go right ahead as we get to the end of the show. So something else that I want to key in on is Andre Iguodala was announced as a game time decision. Initially was probable. They've got him on the training table, making sure that he is ready to go. Game time decision. All the things I've heard is that he is going to give it a go, but they're going to be careful with him. And I think that it's more about that they've seen DJJ in stretches be as disruptive as he was and effective. So you could see some minutes slide there. With Duncan shooting as well as he did, hopefully he can cross the 30 to 35-minute mark, and it's a moot point about who's coming off the bench as a wing. I'm interested in, again, I'm throwing these out to the floor. This is we are a group that is greater than the sum of our parts or something, however that goes. So any of your opinions, DJJ, what kind of impact are we going to see from him? And does Iguodala being available change the way that he approaches using DJJ in that zone in the disruptive fashion we saw in Game 2?
Well, DJJ at the top of the zone, that worked wonders the last time, right? And maybe he's a guy you can go to on Kemba, because DJJ, he's what you call. I already said that Daniel Tice is handsy. DJJ is handsy as well, but you can use him to take fouls on Kemba, and that's not such a bad thing if you get away with 1 or 2 turnovers. Because if you could turn those turnovers into points, think about it. Every time you turn him over for 2 points, he has to get a foul on you and then make both free throws to even you out. So I think it's a good gamble to use him, and I would say yes at the top of the zone. And if Iguodala is not capable of running the floor as well as he is, then what he is, what's his use really for tonight as a spot up post defender or in the zone at the top of the zone or in spot minutes against Tatum? So yeah, I would play DJJ if Iguodala is not at 100%. I don't think he's that much more useful over DJJ in this game.
I think that's going to be another adjustment thing. I think it's going to be kind of how Iguodala is feeling in that third quarter, going to that third, because that's where DJJ gets most of his minutes. So I think that's going to be mostly about that. But when you said something about Duncan early on, I think this is going to be a game that Boston watches Duncan even more. I think that's going to open up early in the game. It's going to open up Bam and Jay Crowder. I think they're going to use that dribble handoff and work when they fly out and do the switches with their defense. I think they're going to use Bam a little bit more on the roll to post up the smaller guys when he gets smart or somebody on them. And I also think that opens up Crowder, because we talked about over and over that's the guy they've kind of chosen to take those open threes. And I think that's a good thing for a Heat fan to let Jay Crowder take threes as of right now. So I think that's something we're going to see early, is a lot of Bam and Jay Crowder in the first quarter.
Let's hope the regression doesn't come with Jay Crowder shooting, baby. We need every one of those to go in. Before the stream went live, I did throw out to our Heat Twitter following any questions they may have. So I'm going to blitz through a few of these before we get into any further discussion and then wrap it up with picks. Here's one. Is there a Celtics lineup that Spo would put Myers Leonard in against? Is there anything you foresee where Myers Leonard could get run in this series?
If Robert Parrish comes out of retirement sometime before Game 5.
I love it.
What if the Heat are winning like by 20? You'll give them some minutes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I could see that.
Yep. Another one here is there any potential where Tyler Hero would play well enough to be inserted into the starting lineup in this playoff run? I'm going to give you the short answer, hell no. But if any of you guys disagree and you want to make a case for it, now is the time.
Sure, it's always a good idea to fix 10-1, right?
Exactly. We always get greedy as Heat fans. It's so funny that we're in the midst of this playoff run 10-1, and I'm getting DMs from fans that say, so like in 2021, you think we could go get Kawhi or LeBron? It's like, yo, we may win a championship with this group right here. It's funny. It's
yeah.
Who would you put Tyler in for? Because I know you're not putting him in for Goron.
Yeah, no, I know that's where it gets weird, and ultimately, it's just it was a question that came across, and I'm doing my due diligence to make sure our viewers and listeners get a voice.
Yeah, Tyler Hero as a starter is a 2021 thing.
Yep.
Good call.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was, I think, every question that I've got here.
I would like to mention, though, I see a lot of people talking about Kelly Olynyk having a big game. I think that one of the things we talked about is Spo's adjustments, something that he has in his back pocket. I talked about the Kelly Olynyk Bam minutes in this series, and that's something we haven't seen in game 1 or 2. He has not used that, and I kind of talked about them having that 131 offensive rating and a 68 defensive rating in the playoffs this far with Bam and Olynyk on the floor. I think that can cause some mismatches if they want to try to find a spark in that third quarter, like I've talked about. So I think that's something we can see today as a kind of a thing that Spo pulls out.
It's interesting that you reference them going big, because some of the Boston writers and folks, Boston Celtics Twitter, we'll call them, they have talked about maybe with Hayward back that there could be an opportunity for the Celtics to do the opposite and go completely small with no 5 on the floor, essentially Jaylen Brown being the tallest player on the court. How do you think Miami counters that? Do they do anything differently, or is Bam so versatile that you don't even worry about it? Maybe you don't play 2 bigs, to Brady's point about KO, but is there anything that Miami should be worried about if they do go with a centerless group?
No. If they do that, you just play Bam. You just play Bam on Jaylen Brown and call it a day. They're playing right into your hands, really. They let you have the tallest player on the court and dominate the boards with a guy that can guard 1 through 5, really.
Yeah, I think you wouldn't be able to play Olynyk, obviously, against those groups. I think the Olynyk minutes are going to have to come when Daniel Tice is on the floor. I feel like that's the only way. If they don't have Daniel Tice or any of those guys on the floor, you're not going to be able to go with that Bam Olynyk lineup. But I think when you look at just kind of the defensive thing with Tice on the floor, the way that they could kind of switch, because Tice is not going to be, even though Boston some people think it's going to be a wash, with Bam. I think it might be a wash with Olynyk, but that's another story. But I think that just looking at the defensive side of they talk about pick and rolls, Bam can guard even Kemba Walker. We've seen that all series. He's disrupted him over and over. So I think there's a lot of things you can go do with that lineup on both sides of the floor.
So before we get to picks, I just want you guys let's go through and talk about the NBA awards stuff just fast. With Giannis and LeBron and some of the LeBron comments that kind of alluded to that maybe he deserved the award, and then the fact that there were Defensive Player of the Year years, like 2012, I think it was, where LeBron clearly could have gotten both awards and did not. Do you think that they should be adjusting the voting structure so that the media has less weight in that vote? I'm interested to hear your guys' take on that entire situation regarding NBA awards in general. David, I'll go to you first.
I mean, I think in hindsight, it's always 2020. You look at, I should have done, won this award or whatever. But I think we're kind of blowing things out of proportion with these things. I think the players care a lot more about it than we probably do as the media. But I just think that people just need to just back off. Whoever you voted for, whether you agree with it or not, it's their vote. So just like with any other thing where you have a say in the matter, it's how you interpret the game and who you think wins. So, I mean, whatever. I just don't think it's that important to really go into digging in depth of the structure of the awards.
Yeah.
If they go to what they do in the NFL, it will be an even bigger disaster, because we see NFL players and coaches how they vote on the Pro Bowl, and that's just plain stupid. So it can't get worse. I think there's nothing wrong with the structure right now, except that it's narrative based, and the media people that vote on it admit that it's narrative based, and they vote their favorites. There was a year once, wasn't it, where Carmelo Anthony got a vote for MVP? So
well, Hassan Whiteside got Defensive Player of the Year votes, and that's like where I draw the line and why I had to bring it up tonight. Because if Whiteside and Drummond are getting those kind of votes, like, come on now, right?
Yeah. You mentioned Giannis. You mentioned Giannis winning the MVP and everything. Kind of I mentioned yesterday. I think it's a win for the agency of Giannis and Bams, because they got in the same season they have an MVP and a future Finals MVP. So I just want to throw that out there. So that's cool.
I like it. Love it. Bam Adebayo love right there. So let's do this quickly. We are going to run through picks. I'd like to know what you think is going to happen this evening, and then if anyone wants to revise their I don't know if most of you guys, I think, went Heat in 7. There were some Heat in 6s. David, I don't know that we got your prediction initially here, so feel free to give that. Do you want to revise your prediction? I'm giving you the shot, and also how you feel about tonight. Alfredo.
Okay. I had the Heat in 7. I would revise. Okay. I have them losing. I have them losing tonight. I have them joining the rest of the NBA into the playoffs and playing an actual series and playing an actual game 4 with some stakes, right? But I do believe, unless they lose by 30 tonight, I don't see how Heat in 7 really makes much sense. And then I would revise to Heat in 5, and I join you. They lose a close game tonight, which I do see them. I just cannot see them just buzzsawing through the East like this. They got to have some resistance. When are they going to get the resistance? Because if they win tonight, there is no resistance, and this will be another sweep. So where's the resistance going to come from? It has to come now. I say Boston gets this one. Heat get the next 2.
Dave, did you get resistance?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is do or die for Boston, this game. I mean, it's pretty much the series. So you're going to get Boston's best shot. I'm looking for the inverse of the first 2 games where Miami came out and sort of let Boston dictate the tempo and everything early. I think Miami needs to come out and set the tone and be aggressive. And if Miami could get a big lead going into the third quarter, they might be able to cave Boston now. But I agree with Alfredo. I think we're going to get Boston's best shot tonight. But I got the Heat in 5 as well. I think they take it in 5 now. Just they match up too well, and they've pretty much answered all the big questions in the first 2 games as far as resiliency goes. And Boston has the horses, though, so this is key. If they take this game, they're going to come out and do their best in Game 4 as well. So I think Miami's going to take it in 5, but I agree. I think this could be the Boston game. This could be the one.
I'm going to throw you a curveball. Alejandro, what you got?
Yeah. I had Heat in 6, so I'm going to stay with that and see what happens. But tonight, I can never say the Heat are losing, so I'm going to go Heat by 3 today. Even if I'm not right, I'm going to go with the Heat. Heat by 3.
Brady.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to join all of you and change it to Heat in 5. But I ultimately think, so the opposite of what they said, I think tonight is going to be a Heat win, and I think they'll lose in Game 4, close out in 5. I think this game is going to be a Jimmy Butler game, like I said before. I think he's going to show why he came to Miami and just close this one out and put a stamp on this 3-0 lead. So that's kind of where I go. I think this is going to be a Heat up 3-0 after tonight.
So I went Heat in 5 to start this thing because it's all about having the guts in my world. And so I'm going to do a couple things. One, I predict the Heat win tonight, and I'll tell you why in a moment. And I'm revising my prediction too. We are bringing out the damn brooms on these folks. Heat in 4, and the sweep is happening. And I want to hone in on a comment by Raul Rolon. Heat going to go for the kill tonight. Spo knows we have 4 days off. Expect big minutes for Bam, Butler, and Dragic. That's the nail on the head right there. I think that if there's ever a game where Spo trusts 6, trusts 7, and that's it, and literally has these guys go all out to try to get one, it's tonight with 3 days off coming after. So I'm going with a Heat win and a Heat sweep. And if you got the guts, you'll come with me. I think that's everything we got for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We will be back with a pregame show. Alf's going to run point guard on that, but I will hop on and play some 2 guard. So come join us. That'll hopefully be a lot of fun. Even if they lose, it'll be a lot of fun. But and check out all the stuff we have going on in our network.
The world famous post-game show. Last one got 25,000 views. So
I mean, what is happening?
It's getting bigger each one.
Yeah. So go Heat, and thank you for joining, guys.
All right. That was our pre-game show. We're going to stay here for a little longer just to wait for the starting lineup, but you guys can leave. But I'm going to stay here with the guys that are on right now, reading some of the messages that couldn't come through during the broadcast.
Thanks for having me, guys.
See you, David. David has the Jimmy Canasta shirt, by the way. You guys can buy that at 5reasonsports.com. That's a great shirt. We designed that at Cinco Razones. It's our Jimmy Canasta shirt. You should buy it. and get yours at 5reasonsports.com. And let me see, we got shooters. That's also from 5 Reasons, so you guys can visit 5reasonsports.com and get your favorite there. We also saw the drip one that Ethan was wearing.
Yeah.
Brady was wearing one too, I think.
Yeah, I think
And
we got shooters.
The Guts needs a shirt now.
This is true. Guts check.
Yes, we should get one.
We got to get on that.
Guts.
Adam Smoot, if you're watching, let's get on it.
Yes.
Is there any
commission for that one?
Alejandro, as you're waiting for the lineup, is there any questions that came in that maybe we could blast through just here in a little bit?
Let me check Rick here real fast.
Kind of going off the cuff here. Let's have fun.
We got shooters. This one goes a little wild. We got shooters.
Tony's got the guts.
Here. But can the Heat really beat the Lakers, though? Okay, that's a good question.
I think they can, actually. When you give Spo the opportunity to join on ties and the rest of that line up 3 through whatever is not as good as what Miami's rolling out, and you don't have to worry as much about them. I think that they really have. Bam and Jimmy are kind of a light. So I think they do have a really damn good shot there.
Okay. They didn't
David,
score
what do
tonight.
you think?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the Lakers have the depth to compete with Miami from top to bottom.
Okay, let me see what else. Who's gonna be the leader scorer tonight? That's from Tony Morales, our friend.
Jimmy. Although it's kind of
Butler?
crazy. It's crazy not to say Goran because he's played so well and he's been so efficient, cooking everybody. Step back, crazy left-handed jumpers late in the fourth. But ultimately, I think to Brady's point, it's a Jimmy night. Jimmy's going to get going early, so that would be my expectation.
Okay, more of a future question. What do you foresee with KZ potential?
I mean, I think that they're going to build him in a way that you would see kind of what they've seen from DJJ, but imagine if he could do some of the stuff Andre Iguodala does from a being able to handle the ball in stretches and make different decisions, and also maybe even be able to do a few things defensively that are a little more that are even more what's the word I'm looking for here? Flexible than what DJJ gives. So I think it's kind of DJJ without the offensive warts is what you hope KZ can become, or maybe even a star. Because the way that these guys blow up, I mean, who am I to doubt that developmental group?
Yeah, we saw what happened with Duncan Robinson. Here we have a long one. Okay, Bam was aggressive in the third quarter of game 2. Was that Spo creating that with the offense play calling, the weakness of Brad Stevens' defensive scheme that the Heat were taking advantage of, or was it Bam's will? What do you think?
That's a really good question. You know what I think it was is that they came out of the half and they ran a play that was designed to get Bam at the rim, rolling to the rim and going up
the
and
same
finishing.
the same one that they always do, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
And then this is what happens. Then they come down and the players are smart enough to try it again. Mm-hmm. And they get points off of it in some way, shape, or form. I think it could have been free throws. I don't remember exactly. Then what happens is that they see that that's a leaky hole, and they go back to it and they attack it. So it's kind of a little bit of everything, but the seed was planted with Spoelstra calling that out of the half timeout.
Okay, let's keep going with this. Would the Lakers go big or go small against us? We're already thinking about the Lakers. We have to still
right.
We
I know.
Still have to win.
Let's be very careful. Stay in the moment here. I'm big on the meditation stuff, so stay in the moment. We got to win game 3. I think the Lakers will size down ultimately because Miami will force them that direction. I don't think JaVale McGee can stay on the floor in that, or Dwight even. I think could. It'll be a little weird to have him and AD out there because of the shooters that Miami has. So I would expect them for one series. Anthony Davis can play the 5. He'll be okay. So they'll size down. What
about the refs? They're asking us to talk about the refs.
It's been awful. It's been the questionable calls. The push out of bounds foul where DJJ pushed Marcus Smart was one of the most BS calls I've seen in a really long time. So I would expect more of that tonight. Probably the whistle will go even more in Boston's favor, but the Heat are at home. So let's hope they get the home cooking home just because of the way the schedule works out.
Right. We have the starting lineup ready. It's the same. We just wanted to confirm, but today we're wearing black. So we're going with this Goran Dragic, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, Jay Crowder, and Bam Adebayo. Those are the 5 starters for tonight. We had to confirm. We never know with Spo.
This is true.
He gets a little creative sometimes, so we had to confirm. Let me see one more before you leave, Greg. Let me see what player on the Heat would be the most happy for if they win a title this year. Tyler Hero because it's his first year, or Goran Dragic because it's more towards the end of his career, or what do you think?
That is a really cool question. That's like a podcast topic. I'm gonna have to give him credit for that. My gut feeling immediately is Jimmy Butler, because he came here and he kind of went against the grain and didn't team up with 2 or 3 other guys, and he didn't stay in Philly. So because he was so about that culture, I want to say Jimmy, but I'm going to go in a different direction. Goran Dragic.
You want to say something, but you're going to.
Yeah, Goran Dragic, and I'll tell you why. He
Okay.
went through some really tough years. He came to Miami with high hopes. That Bosch Goran Dragic pick and roll was supposed to be so much of a threat, and we never got to see it. And so I think because he stuck it out and he didn't get dealt, and he's here still, that would be the guy I would feel most happy for, that they get one.
Yeah, and he's been great here in the playoffs, so he definitely deserves that. And he was almost out of the team at some point. So
you're right. No, for sure.
Yeah, thanks to all of the guys that didn't want him. So we got the best version of the Dragon in this series. So we have a lot of comments here. It's been crazy. Let me see. Lakers will start. He's going about the Lakers again. Patrick Hernandez talking about the officials. Thank you. Not Goran. Yes, he said Goran afterwards. Butler's redemption. Jimmy.
These guys are on the same wavelength as me.
Yeah, Jimmy. A lot of comments for Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy. I mean, especially in his first year, right?
Yeah.
Right after they brought him here to Miami, that will be definitely very special. So I guess that's it. I mean, we still have a lot of comments, but here, Brian Wilson saying, "Thank you, appreciate you guys at 5 Reasons. Thank you for what you do." Thank you, Brian. We'll be doing a post-game show, and we'll be doing also, if it's not too late, what I did the other day, which was just showing all the press conferences.
That's
so
really good.
We have to wait until they release those videos, upload them here in the computer, and then go for it. But we'll see. If definitely, if we win, we're gonna do it. So okay, one.
I like that caveat.
Yes. It's Kelly Olynyk underrated. Last one before we go.
No, he's not underrated. He's exactly what we think he is. And Hayward is playing. Let's go Heat. And that's enough from us. I'm out.
That's it. All right. That's it. So thank you guys for being here with us, and we'll see you during the game and right after the game too for the post-game show. We're going to keep this broadcast going. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave the starting lineup here, and we're going to do the live tweeting show from this same broadcast. So give us a couple of minutes, around 15 to 20 minutes until the game starts, so we can start sharing the tweets that our guys are putting out during the game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. So patience, and we'll be back. Okay, guys, thank you for being here with us. It's 22-17 in the first quarter, 2 minutes and 54 seconds to go. Thank you for all your messages. We're going to stay here until you guys want us to be here. So thank you for joining us in the Fire Reason Sports YouTube channel. Stephen Wang, thank you for staying with us all this time. Yeah, those point blank layups that he passes are maddening, especially in a close game. But then it becomes a J3. He has to play minds with the Celtics. Go Miami. I know, says Andrew Green, Gabriel Brook. The Celtics going to get tired after the first half, and we're going to win the second half. Please, I want to watch the video. No, we can't play the video here, Julieto Julian, but thank you for being here with us. We're going to come back to Heat Twitter to see what they're saying back in our Twitter land about the Miami Heat playing the third game of the Eastern Conference Finals. Thank you, Craig. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so the Boston Celtics are winning 62-50 in this third game of the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's go through some of the top scorers of this game so far that the Boston Celtics are winning. So they will be cutting the lead 2-1 if this ends up this way. But we know we've seen it throughout the series how the Miami Heat can has been able to come back and win this type of games. Last time they were down by 13 in on halftime, and now they're down by 12. So they're about the same in that category. They're I mean they haven't played their best basketball, and they were close. They were 3 points away, and Crowder had the chance to really be tied the game with a 3-point shot there. So let's go through the box score right now for the Boston Celtics. 17 points for Jaylen Brown, 13 for Jason Tatum, and 12 for Kemba Walker. Those are the three top scorers for Boston. 7 rebounds for Tatum, 5 for Brown. So those two have been the most complicated players for the Miami Heat in this first half. So annoying team. We have Craig Fillower saying exactly we got him right where we want him. Yes, we're down by 12 and we're still there close to it. Let's see. Scared me, Alejandro. I forgot this open on my phone. I'm sorry, Ryan. And don't worry, Brian. We'll be back. I mean, we're gonna finish this up as soon as we finish covering who scored the most points for each team in this half, and we're gonna be back for the post game show. So thank you for joining us and for staying here all this time, Ryan. And we'll see you later. What is up with Dragic? 4 turnovers. Come on. Yes, great defense by the Boston Celtics in those couple last minutes. So I mean, it's part of the game. Venmon says, "I hope can keep relying on comebacks. Celtics will win this one. We'll see. We'll see. You have to keep believing in this team. They got good minutes from DJJ. I don't know, Dragic. I don't know why Dragic came back in so early if he isn't producing on offense and can't guard anybody. It's like, come on, he had to turn it on in the second half. Close enough. Yes, will be. Yeah. I mean, last time when I finished this live tweeting party, it was about the same, and it was right before the fourth quarter, so it was even harder at that point. So let's look at the Miami Heat box scores so far. It's been Tyler Hero. We have a live view. No, we took it out, but we had a live view of Tyler Hero, who was just on fire from the field goals. He was 60%, 6 out of 10. So that was a great job by Tyler Hero. 18 points, leading the Miami Heat in this first half. Bam Adebayo with 8 points, 6 for Jimmy Butler, only 5 for Crowder, and only 1 3 for Duncan Robinson. He only attempted 2 field goals, so that's weird from Duncan Robinson. We're used to watching him trying to get more points. Derrick Jones Jr. had also 3 points, 1 point for Kelly Olynyk. That came obviously through the free throw line. So that's what we got for this live show so far. So thank you for being here with the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel. We're gonna be back for the post game right after the last play of the game. We're gonna be here with you guys. So thank you, and let's go Heat.